Oh, I didn't think about that. Okay, I'll just mute myself and that sort of thing and stay on, so.
Okay, Josh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great, okay. Do we think we have everybody, Mark? Okay. Sounds good. We can start with introductions from the district. I know most of you know me. There's probably a few new people. I'm Rick Rogers, the district manager for the San Lorenzo Valley Water District, and also we have Josh Wolf, who is the district engineer, who is managing this project for the district. And now I'll turn it over to you all if you want to do introductions. Mark, you want to start?
All right, I'm Dana Wygand, and Jeff Amon is coming in momentarily. We're at 9661, right in the middle of the action at the water bar.
Mark, we're here. Mark Parsons. Hey, how you guys doing? Paige and I are both here.
I guess I'll pop in. I'm one of the anonymous callers, probably because I called in from smartphone. This is Kent, 9601 Zayante at the end of the road.
I'm Mike. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm Mike, 9611, right down below the pump house and generator. It's right there.
Transformer.
And I'm Kent's wife, Laura, at 9601 also.
Hi, I'm Sue Ellen, 9629 Zayante.
I'm Steve, same address.
Well, basically, they don't have to identify if they don't want to. That's okay. We can kind of get started. I will ask Josh to give a little bit of a project description to you all. As you know, this project came up many years ago with the installation of the interconnection to Lumpico. This part of the project was put back until the funding and everything went through. It's kind of come full circle again to move ahead. A lot of the same faces, a lot of the same people, and probably still all the same concerns. So I'll have Josh start out giving a project description of what and maybe a timeline. Josh?
All right. So I was going to say, for those who don't know me, but I don't think anyone does, I'm Josh Wolf. I'm the district engineer. I've been with the district for about a year now, and I'm going to be running this project. So I'm going to be your point of contact if you have any concerns or any need to reach out to the district. The project we're looking at entails replacement of the existing undersized water mains between East Zayante Road at the Zayante Drive, East Zayante Road intersection up to the parcel immediately below our pump station intertie to Lumpico, and then a short cross-country stretch from the road up to that station so that we can get...
Josh, where is the beginning of the pipe? Is it at Mark's house, or is it down at the junction of East Zayante?
The pipe's going to run from East Zayante to the location in front of Mark's house and then up the hill behind him to the pump station.
But is it under the road all the way down to the junction of East Zayante, or does it
Yes. The only place that the pipe will not be in the road is between the road in front of Mark's house and the pump station itself, where we currently have above grade pipe, where that existing 6-inch plastic
you've got
pipe
a
is
grade
laying.
to go up to get to the pump.
Mhm. That's the only place we're not going to be in the road. Okay. Okay. Thank you for the clarification, Mark. Okay.
And Josh, just to, I don't mean to jump in, but all of Zayante Drive right now has a 4-inch main all the way up to the pump station. Is that correct?
Largely, there are a couple pieces of 2-inch that are legacy that are also being eliminated. The objective here is to install properly sized pipe, 8-inch pipe, between the main that runs under East Zayante Road and the pump station, which has two main objectives. Objective number one, from your perspective, is it's going to provide improved fire service and improved pressure at all of your residences. From Lompico's perspective, it's going to provide those same things for Lompico. The additional benefit for the Zayante Drive neighborhood is that installing the properly sized pipe will allow us to get rid of the day tank that is currently in the intertie building, which means that tank and its associated pump will not be cycling and will significantly reduce the noise load.
That would be wonderful.
Hooray!
That thing is a pain in the neck.
And the generator will go away too.
The
Yeah,
generator is not going away. The generator is going to be enclosed, and I think Rick's going to address that a little bit in terms of exactly how we're looking at doing that. But the idea of this project is twofold. One, it's to improve service. That's the primary, with a strong secondary focus of making your lives more, well, improving your lives, reducing the noise in your neighborhood.
I want to add something here because it comes up at this juncture. When that three-phase transformer was put in to service the pumps, it's very noisy, and I registered that years ago. And there was a promise made, and the administration has probably changed, that at some point that transformer would be moved to a ground base next to the pump house, and that annoying hum would go away. So I just want to raise that up again, remind the district that that was promised to us verbally, and I just would like to see that perhaps at this time acted on.
Right, and Steve is 100% correct. We said that when we address the pipeline replacement, that we would address locating the transformer to a ground base
Right.
to quiet. And that is still our intentions to start that process with PG&E. We'll have more room up there with getting, more flat ground room by once that pipeline goes in. We will be able to, as Josh said, remove the day tank, which is a source of noise complaints going on off all day, the sound of water. We will add on to that building and close the generator. Things have changed, as we all know, with PG&E. The amount of power outages that we're experiencing, we've had to put, because our first intention was not to put a permanent generator out there, but the district has started to install generators at all pump stations just because of the PG&E power outages and the length of those power outages. We can't sustain water.
The reliability from PG&E sucks.
So I know you all know that as well as we do. So, and we are also we'll be putting that inside of a block building, add on to the back of that pump station, right where the day tank is.
Excellent.
That'll quiet that considerably. The day tank will come out, and then we'll have room once the pipe's in, and we will start the application process with PG&E now to
Excellent.
either pad mount or underground, see what they'll do.
Excellent.
That's going to be, when you work with PG&E, it's a long process, but we will start that process.
So the pump, it's still going to pump from the pump house up to Lompico, or?
Yes.
Correct.
And I'm not sure if you hear the pumps or not.
No,
Because
we don't actually hear them, Rick. The audio pollution is not significant from the pumps.
No,
All
I
the
agree.
audio pollution is coming from the tank.
right. When we constructed that pump station, with soundproofing doors, soundproofing vents, we went the extra mile on
I
that.
remember that because you guys got my audio pollution study originally.
Yep,
with the
well, we do have that.
yeah.
So, those promises are still good. We will still move on the transformer. And back then we weren't able to start because PG&E said that, hey, if we do that, your engineering is going to be, you'll be a year to 18 months. And we needed to get power, which they could supply very readily with the above ground transformer. Go ahead, Josh.
I've pretty much summarized the project. So, yeah. I do. Let me figure out how to share my screen here.
I think Holly will have to let you share the screen, and I will get her to do that.
I got it going right here.
Yeah.
All right, you should be seeing an exhibit now.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks good.
So the red line there is the new pipe alignment. And this is the same exhibit that all of you received when you received the neighborhood notices.
Okay.
And I'm happy to republish that, or if one of you wants to give me a list of emails, I can send it out to everybody via email. It's not a problem. No, it does not. It is intended to show generally the route that the pipeline will take as opposed to the specific alignment. That alignment is currently being designed by Sandus Civil Engineers. They're doing all of our 2021 pipeline work. And they are designing this down to the fitting. So before too long, we will be able to show a detailed plan, really, that shows exactly where that pipe is going to be. Now, like any other pipeline project, when pipe starts going in the ground, there will be minor adjustments in the field. Pipe can move as much as a couple of feet in one direction or another. But by and large, the plan that we come out with, which I'm hoping to have, we have preliminary, but I'm hoping to have a final plan on that in the next month.
Is it going to be a trench, and then you're going to fill in the trench, or is the whole road going to be dug up? Can you answer that?
We'll be trenching. Our general procedure is we excavate a trench that's about 2 feet wide, down as far as we need to bed the pipe. We put sand down for the pipe bedding. It protects the pipe from seismic motion. Pipe goes in, and then we backfill with slurry, which is a very lightweight, essentially a cement that can be excavated later, but it provides greater solidity than simply putting soil back in. And then we repave the top of the trench. We do what's called a T-cut, where on a 2 foot wide trench, we grind out cut out an additional 2 feet to either side of the trench so that the restored asphalt is 6 feet wide. And that additional width gives it some extra strength. It gives it significantly more resiliency in terms of damage during use, and will make it last a long.
So it will be less likely to sink like traditional trenching?
Correct. The slurry is there to significantly reduce, or really I should say vastly reduce, the likelihood of any subsidence. Generally, subsidence is a result of backfill with soil and then incorrect compaction. We've learned over the years, and I've seen in previous places that I've been, that if you just backfill with slurry, it's not a problem because slurry doesn't require compaction and it won't subside. So that'll allow us to keep that trench level with the rest of the road around it. The T-cut provides some additional stability and some additional continuity so that the joining point between the new asphalt and the old asphalt is not also at the edge of the trench, thus further reducing any likelihood of subsidence.
But that's how you're not going to repave the road.
Our plan is not to repave the entire road, no.
If you come to a spot,
How long is the project going to take?
That's going to be determined once we have a detailed plan and can put it out to bid. Our contractors will be able to tell us how long. But in general, piping on a road this narrow, leaving extra time for making sure that we have access for emergency vehicles and for resident access, I'm going to guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 working days minimum.
And how are we going to control the project in, as far as the residents driving in and out on their daily activities?
We will be meeting with our contractor once we bid this out and have a contractor to develop a traffic control plan. And that traffic control plan is going to include everything from how we make sure it is safe for residents and nobody's going to end up driving into an unmarked trench, to what times we're going to be working, what times we're going to have to close the road, what portions of the road would need to be closed during those times, and what the provisions will be for access. I'll tell you right now, there are going to be times when the road will just be closed for short periods of time, and there will be no access in or out. When I say short periods, I'm hoping ordinarily we would think for periods of up to about 2 hours, with the proviso that in the event of an emergency where we need to get emergency vehicles in or out, the contractor can drop everything, plate the trench, and have access available for emergency vehicles generally within 10 minutes. We are doing our best to limit, or we will be doing our best to limit those times of full road closure as opposed to simply closing a portion of the road and still leaving room for residents to get by. And we will be making sure that everyone affected by these closures is notified well in advance.
Josh, is there any latitude about planning and coordinating road closures with the construction sequence?
Some,
or do we just respond to the contractor's going to close it for 2 hours, blah, blah?
in general, what's going to happen is we will work with the contractor to minimize impact on you. And when there will be road closures, we will notify you in advance. And
I know, but
really
when
any
I'm asking,
change,
should we have any coordinating dialogue with the contractor regarding when those road closures will be? A lot of us get in and out of here frequently. So if it's possible to coordinate something that's mutually acceptable with the contractor and the residents, because there's dialogue, I think that would be helpful.
We normally try to do that, such as like on garbage day. You know, we will make sure the contractor does not start work until garbage is picked up. And if we know in advance,
It'll be 3 in the afternoon. They don't finish till like 3 in the afternoon.
It's like 1.
well, you know, and we may have to have district staff move the cans down, and you know, we'll work with you and work on reasonable
Okay,
open the road for ingress and egress. You know, but at the same time, well, I think you understand that the sooner we get the work done, the sooner we get out of your day-to-day life. But we'll work with you the best we can and with the contractor. And
okay,
that's
well,
where the district will take the responsibility to represent you to the contractor. And, you know, you can coordinate that with the district, and then Josh's team will coordinate with the contractor. We understand, you know, you need to be able to come and go. And, you know, we've done this before. We're usually pretty successful. You know, yeah, of course, there's always, you know, emergencies, and we'll work close with the Zayante fire. And they do have steel plating that we can relatively quickly, the contractor will be able to slide over open trenching to make access. And the fire departments work well with us, and, you know, they deal quite well with road closures.
Can I ask a question? If you come to a spot when you're trenching that there's some spots that are kind of starting to break up on the road, if you come to a spot that's breaking up, will you guys be willing to kind of go a little further than your normal trench just to make sure it's all stable? It's sort of a favor, I guess I'm asking.
Well, you know, go ahead, Josh. There's more to that resurfacing, I think, than Josh said about the full project. Go ahead.
True. There's two pieces to that answer. One is if the edge of our T-cut is getting close to the edge of the road and that portion of the asphalt is raveled or damaged, we can't really place new asphalt against damaged asphalt. So yeah, to a certain extent, we will need to extend the limits of our work as needed in order to make sure that the work we're doing isn't just going to come back apart. I mean, that's just how that process goes. And then the other piece is when we restore the road, we will be restoring it to the current county specification, meaning that we will be putting down, after we have finished all of our asphalt work, what they call a type 2 slurry seal, which is something you've probably seen going on around the county recently. Certainly in our area, they've done a fair bit in the last 6 to 8 months, where we're not repaving the road, but we will be resealing it. We'll be providing this thing called the type 2 slurry. It provides a small amount of structure and a large amount of waterproofing to help maintain the road. So what you end up with when it's all said and done is a consistent, solid black surface.
Okay. That sounds
Portions
good.
of this road have bad road base installation to begin with. So sections of the road were never actually built properly. And what Mike is alluding to is out in front of our house right now, we've had some rather heavy vehicles going over and the road is breaking up. The road base has problems. So we just don't want them to be worse, because after your trenching and your slurry work and all the rest of it, it just continues to degrade.
Well, we're certainly not going to leave the road in worse shape than we found it.
The slurry work is going to help a lot, but there is going to be spots where you're going to find where you just have to replace sections.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to butt up to anything. It's all going to fall apart in some places.
We understand that.
The road was built with hand tools. There wasn't even a paving machine or anything. It was all built with hand tools.
I know, that's why the road base was never put in properly. So we're just reaping the result of that.
So in areas where we need to extend our limits in order to have a reasonable product when we're done, we will. I mean, that's common practice for us.
That's great.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And we'll do a walkthrough. I think we did that one time before when the last project, when we did the pump station. We will do a neighborhood walkthrough, you know, as part of completing the project, and to make sure that we can even do it before the paving and talk about it. You know, the district and Josh's team will work closely with the neighborhood. We understand that, yes, water system improvements are important, but it's really important the finished product of the roads because you drive those every day. And that is a concern.
What about water pressure? Will the water pressure be higher, and will that do anything to my old lines anyway?
Your pressure should still be the same. Right now you have a 4-inch main, most of that. Where you might notice the difference is your flows will stay constant. You will have a good flow constantly. It won't be like if you open a faucet and, sometimes it's strong, sometimes it's not from use or when the pump runs. For instance, when our pump is running and that day tank is filling, you may see a deflection in your water pressure. That'll go away.
Okay.
You'll have a constant flow and a constant pressure.
I need to close my computer.
To add to what Rick said, the project will not increase your water pressure. What it will do is make it much more consistent.
Yep.
It will actually be easier on your pipes because the changes in pressure create a lot of shear stress on the pipes.
Josh, do we have a construction schedule? Do we know what is our schedule? And we'll probably put something out in writing here shortly, but
We do not yet have a schedule, and we won't have a schedule until we finish the design and get this out to bid for construction.
Do you have
As
an
much as I
estimate?
would love to have a schedule beforehand, current material shortages are resulting in delays to our contractors getting material of up to 4 months. So the idea of us putting out a schedule now, all it would do is set us up to fail later. And I'm reluctant to give you folks a specific answer and then be proven wrong when I knew in advance that it probably wasn't going to be right.
Josh, you have an estimate of the period of time when this might start, given all these variables?
My best guess is midsummer,
Okay.
mid to late summer.
All right.
One of the things that is, short answer, yes. One of the things we're doing with this design is bringing all of the hydrants on the road up to our current standard, which is what we call a steamer hydrant. It's what you think of when you think fire hydrant as opposed to the standpipe style wharf hydrant that you often see up in the hills. So all of the existing hydrants will be upgraded to the current standard. And in addition, we are evaluating spacing on the hydrants and any other issues that would affect a need to possibly add additional hydrants.
No, I don't think there is either, Mark. I think that's correct. Yeah.
we'll address that as part of the project.
We will be addressing that. It's worth noting that the way the fire department has set up their requirements, they want it to be no more than 500 feet from any given property to the nearest point where they can access water, the nearest hydrant. So sometimes a hydrant will be down a side street and not obvious. Sometimes they just aren't there. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head where all the hydrants are in your
Well, there aren't
neighborhood.
any. We can tell you that now. They don't exist.
But I can assure you that
No, it's up by Mark and
No,
Laura's
it's in
house.
front of Mike's house.
Yeah, I have one right in front of my house.
Sorry, Mike. I meant Mike.
That's okay.
Yeah,
in any event,
It's
part
all
of the design
about
process,
AML.
part of the design process is identifying what the current code requirement is for hydrants and providing hydrants and fire protection meeting current codes.
What about going up the road past the pump house? Is that part of you that would put in hydrants up? I mean, that's where I worry about fire coming from, is like up in there where nobody is, and all of a sudden it starts just embering down on us. Is that a
I
thing that
understand
might
your
happen?
concern. We won't be putting any hydrants up there. That's beyond the scope of our current project.
Okay.
The way the hydrants work is that the fire department will show up with a tanker truck and they'll fill their truck off the hydrant and then move that to the location of the fire.
Okay.
So having a steamer hydrant at the location, essentially in front of your house, Mike, is going to maximize their ability to put water on a fire that is up the hill from the booster station.
Okay.
Um,
Correct. That is remaining in place. In the long run, we are looking at ways to put that underground, but currently it is what it is.
Well, it's that temporary rubber top pipe between you.
Exactly, and Mark and all, we've applied for fire hardening grants for many of our facilities, and that's one of them, to bury that pipeline. During CZU fire, we lost a considerable amount of that type of pipe to fire and water quality concerns. So we would like to find funding to bury that pipe or change the type of material, either or, but that's not going to happen right now.
Can a fire hydrant or can a fire truck hook up?
Hard line in from the road up to the pump house, because that currently is also rubber pipe.
Yes, that'll be changed.
The pipe running from the road up to the
Yeah.
pump station will be ductile iron and buried. It's currently
Okay,
high density polyethylene plastic pipe.
Can a fire truck hook up to the pump house or somewhere up there if they needed to?
Not at this time.
Yeah, we don't have a fire department connection there. We don't generally.
We can look at that.
The
I
hydrant.
think that would be a good idea, just to save the pump house, if nothing else, right? And to save that area up there.
Right.
We'll look into it.
Okay.
how often are we to expect our water being shut off through this whole process?
We will only be shutting the water off when we're ready to make the connection. The way that this type of project works is that our contractor will come in, identify where the connection points are at either end, trench between them, lay the new pipe, pressure test the new pipe. We will sample the pipe for bacteriological testing. And once that's complete, then there will be a shutdown of a few hours to make connections at both ends.
Yeah, there's always a possibility of the contractor, while installing, he hits a pipe that was not detected or marked, or the backhoe backs into something or cuts into something, and then they'll make repairs immediately. But other than that, yeah, Josh, it's just to switch you all over to the new system.
It is, after all, Santa Cruz County, so you might find anything down there.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
And
so
that is the fun of working in the mountains.
It is the fun of working in the mountains.
One thing that seems to happen around that time of year is a lot of dust from projects. Is there any way you could, I don't know, have like water spray trucks or something that would keep that? I mean, it gets really dry up here, and
Yeah.
just a thought.
Dust control is part of the project.
Okay.
It's part of all of our projects. We require the contractors water the site at least daily just to
Okay.
keep the dust down.
Cool.
and we will, go ahead.
Those are existing, yes. Yes. No, that'll all be abandoned in place.
So if there's no more questions, we do have all of your emails, and we'll keep you updated as the process goes on the phases of the process. And the phases we have to complete yet, Josh, are?
We need to finish design of the project. That is, as I said, currently we have preliminary drawings, which we are discussing with Sandus prior to their finalizing the drawings. Once the drawings are finalized, we will then go out to bid for construction. That process takes generally 2 months to make sure that we get enough bids. Once bidding is complete, we'll be able to say who our contractor is and when they'll be able to start the project, when they schedule it. At that point, we can provide a schedule of the project and a tentative, precise tentative schedule of which parts of the road would need to be closed.
Josh, is it possible to see the construction drawings after you finalize them?
Yes, once the construction drawings are finalized, they will be posted to the website.
Okay, so it's public.
With the request for proposals. It's all public.
Because that'll answer questions like Mark's, where are the hydrants prospectively placed and all that stuff. So citing that will be part of the plan.
Yes. For those who are familiar with our website or who are not, there is a page on it called Bid Opportunities. There's a button on the front page when you go to SLVWD.com. You can hit the button for Bid Opportunities, and that lists all of our projects that are out to bid or that have recently closed.
Oh.
Once a project goes out to bid, everything about it goes up on the website in that location. And you can,
cool. That's nice
it's
to know.
a bunch of links you can click on that will open PDFs of whatever it is you need to look at, the request for proposals, the plans, any addenda, any environmental permitting that has been added after, or any other issues that have come up after the project was initially posted will also be posted there. So in this case, once we finalize drawings, that's where you'll find it.
Okay, cool. Thanks. That's helpful.
Gotcha. Definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll canvass that whole area and send out another letter and see if I can get email. The best way for us to communicate is emails, obviously, to folks, and it's worked pretty well. But you're right, Rose Bloom, that whole leg will be affected with traffic on the early stages, depending on which end they start from, and the construction traffic. Sure.
I think that'd be useful.
Cool. This works well, I'll have to say, doing this, and I feel a little calmer now, seeing you guys. And here. It's kind of a good idea, technology, right?
Mike, it's
Thanks,
an
Mark.
illusion, but it helps right now.
Well, it's good to see everybody. I've been wondering how Steve and Sue Ellen have been doing, and it's good to see you. It's been a long time, and I just got
A long
over.
time no see there, Rick.
So things are definitely has changed a lot with the district and with COVID and all the new meeting types of video meetings and so forth. It's been a real education.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. I
And,
agree.
you know, we've realized too that, and we've taken on a huge project to harden facilities in general, you know, replace all wooden pump stations with, you know, block and metal type roofing and get rid of all redwood tanks. And we're looking for grants, and I think we'll be successful, but we're looking at a huge facility hardening project to basically harden all of our facilities and defensible space when possible, and try to, you know, make sure that we can minimize any damage and hopefully no future fires. But this Lampico area, you know, is scary.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, well, thank you all for taking time, and anytime you can get a hold of Josh or myself, you know, don't hesitate. You have our emails and numbers.
I would say we are a month to 6 weeks until bids are ready to go out, and yes, that is the next step.
Mm-hmm. All right, good seeing you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.